In today's video, I'm going to discuss the following question. How can you work for Manchester City? I'm going to break this down into a timeline of actions that you should follow for you to make this dream work. Number one, you need to consider where you're going to study. Now, an obvious choice would be Manchester Metropolitan University. Why is that? Well, they've got great facilities which are opening up in the next few months, they've got great staff, and most importantly, they have excellent links with Manchester City, both men's and women's. You might be saying to yourself, well, I'm already at uni, so what does that mean for me? Well, whether you're doing your undergrad or your masters right now, it doesn't mean that you can't interact with MMU. And what I recommend you do is research the university really well, try and understand the links that they have with Manchester City, find out who the right people are, and then once you find those people, network and ask them intriguing questions. Don't just dump them an email now because you watch my short video and try and get them to answer everything without you doing any research. You won't get a reply if that's the way you do it. And what you can do is try and find some placements, see what they have, or if you're a master's student or a dissertation student in your final year of your undergrad, you could collaborate. You could try and get a research project going, say how interested you are in women's football, and if you can find a topic of research that mutually is beneficial between you and the university, there's no reason why that isn't a possibility. And really just day to day when you're doing your degree, whether it's at Manchester Metropolitan or anywhere, you just got to keep learning. So read your papers, listen to your podcasts, watch videos in relation to women's football. Now, this is just one article out of many that you can find on Google Scholar. This is by Ross Julian. I highly recommend that you Google Ross Julian female football research. He's done loads of great papers, so really worth checking out. You can look at podcasts as well online, see what you can find to listen to. This one is with Dawn Scott, who's got years of experience working with female athletes, but at this point it's worth saying that it could be worth doing your own podcast because there aren't many out there for women's football. So if you're really passionate about the area, you have some knowledge that you've built up throughout your degree, well, why not do a podcast? It'll make your CV stand out even more. There's a similar theme with YouTube as well. If you type in on YouTube sports science, women's football, you'd find very little. This video here is, as you can see, from a match. So why not start your own channel? Again, like the podcast, if you have an interest in sports science and women's football, put it together, find a format that works for you. Once again, it will look really good on your CV. Just have something different. Okay, number two, you need experience, you need expertise. We're going to break down what you need to actually go into a team like Manchester City. And my previous videos, I'm speculating what you need, but now we've got some adverts. As luck would have it, yesterday I found these adverts. One is as a physio, and one is working at the women's team as a sports scientist. So I'm going to break these two down very quickly. Starting off with a physio role. Now, at this point you can pause the video because there's clearly a lot to look at. But for me to quickly summarize this, you'll need your degree in physiotherapy, you'll need some registration, as you can see there with the HCPC, amongst other stuff as well. You'll need experience of working with female athletes as well, preferably first team football. So that's the basic stuff you need, but again, feel free to pause and just go through all this in detail. And then we look at the sports science role. There's a bit less to read here, but again, feel free to pause. You can see here there's a similar pattern, so you need your degree, you need experience working in elite football, and you need some form of accreditation, such as UKSCA, which is a strength and conditioning qualification, or BASIS, which is more sports science. Now you can see here that PhD is desirable, so some jobs will want a PhD, but typically masters is where the bar is set. But now and again, you will see PhDs, and maybe in the future, more jobs will want a PhD. Next, you need to put all this into a plan and find ways to get experience to make this happen for you. Sadly, when it comes to experience in pretty much any sport, really with sports science, especially as an undergrad, you're not really going to get a lot of money from it. And I'm going to break this down into phases of your degree, the sort of areas you should be looking at and what you should be saying to yourself. So at the start of your undergrad degree, doing your sports science degree, I'll be saying this, right, I'm going to go and look for some grassroots opportunities first. I'm not going to dive straight into Man City. I'm a first, second year sports science student. That's not going to happen unless you're really lucky. So you need to show initiative. You need to go and find these opportunities yourself. And it could be anyone. It could be a local kids team. It could be a senior women's team. Whatever it is, whatever the level is, it's absolutely fine. Just get experience. And you don't have to be full-time, you're a student, you might have another job as well, so you don't need to commit lots and lots of hours. 4 to 6 hours a week is fine. Now, in the later phase of your degree, you should be saying, okay, well, the first couple of years of my degree, I've got some really good experience at a lower level. Now, I need to try and get myself in with a professional team. So this is where you can drop emails and speak about potential placements, or even just shadowing, so going in for a couple of days and just watching someone at work. You also want to consider doing a specific dissertation. I would do something related to women's football. It will make your CV stand out again. So if you've got your podcast and a dissertation related to women's football, you are a strong candidate already. So when it comes to networking, it can be difficult. You might not be sure what to say. I've got a video here on the left-hand side where it's a template, the sort of things you should be saying when you speak to people in professional sport. And on the right-hand side is an account of one of my placements, which was at Leicester City during my Masters. So hopefully those videos are useful. I will put links to these below this video. Following that, you've finished your undergrad degree, I would be looking at doing an internship. Now, you could go straight into a Masters, that's fair enough, but I think it's really good in your final year to say, right, I'm gonna email as many teams as possible and try and get an internship for a year after I finish my degree. So don't just email one or two close to home. If you can, try and email every team in WSL and other countries as well if there's a possibility for you to travel. Appreciate that can be difficult. But I think it's really good to get full-time experience. If you keep just doing 4 to 6 hours year in, year out, it comes a point where you go to the big clubs and that doesn't look very impressive. So you need to be in there day to day and understand what happens throughout the season. That is what will make you stand out. And when it comes to trying to find that internship, on the left-hand side here is a video on how I got my internship, my strategy. So in the final 6 months of my undergraduate degree, I just emailed everyone, like 150 different teams, and I was very persistent. On the right-hand side is my account of my year-long internship when I finished my undergraduate degree working with Leicester Tigers. Again, links are below. I hope they're useful. Okay, so you've done your undergraduate degree, you've done a year's work experience, and then you're going back to university to do your masters. So you need to say to yourself, right, I've got quite a bit already, but I need to add to this as well to really stand out. So you'll do your MSc, ideally that'll be in Manchester. You need to look at additional qualifications. So this is the year, most likely, when you do your BASIS or your HCPC for a physiotherapist. And also, again, like your undergrad degree, do some relevant research. So your bare minimum is your study, your dissertation, base that on women's football. And as a master's student, you'll spend more time around staff speaking about research. If you can collaborate on more studies within the department on women's football, that's even better. Also, you need to be patient and resilient. I've kind of made this sound pretty easy so far. Do your degree, have a year working in football, do a master's, then you're in. That can happen, but it's not always that smooth. And lots of people want to do what you want to do, and only one person can be selected at a time. It's a very stressful job market, and it's tough. I appreciate that more than most people. So you need to say to yourself, I'm not going to lose hope, I'm going to keep going. You have to keep pushing. And you have to learn from every unsuccessful time you go for a job. Speak to the employer. Now, they don't always reply and give you feedback, so try and find somebody senior around you with experience who can look at your application and give you some advice. Also, you want to make sure that your CV and your cover letter is really strong. You need to learn this as well. So I do have some videos on my channel. You can see on the left-hand side here, CV, on the right is cover letter. I've got many more videos related to this sort of stuff on my channel. Again, links are below. And to finish off with my question again, is it possible to work at Manchester City? Yes, but there's a lot to think about. Education-wise, if we're thinking undergrad and masters, that's 4 or 5 years of your life. You then got your experience. You'll probably need 3 to 5 years of experience to get in somewhere like Manchester City. Qualifications as well. As I've mentioned, there'll be a couple that you need and you have to pay for those yourself. It's very, very rare a team or a university will contribute to these qualifications. You will have to work for free during your undergraduate degree and that 12-month internship. Maybe that will be unpaid. Now, the culture's slightly improving, so by the time you graduate, hopefully there'll be some money in there for you, but there are times, sadly, where it is unpaid. There will be unsociable working hours. That is at any point during your career. So as an undergrad doing your experience, and also when you're actually at Man City, there's a lot going on and you'll be doing all sorts of different bits and pieces, and it can be tough at times. And also there's multiple rejections too. So during the whole journey, when you're trying to find that job at Manchester City or any big club, you'll be rejected a lot along the way. It's very rare you'll just go for the first job and you're in. So do expect that to happen and understand it happens to all of us. Okay, thank you for watching this video about working with Manchester City. I do have other videos on my channel which are related to working in elite sport. If you have a suggestion for any future videos, please get in touch with me on Instagram at SportsScienceHacks. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again soon.